Now with McDonald's, wake up to a $4 breakfast meal deal. Wake up to a sausage McMuffin or sausage biscuit, to hash browns, and wake up to a hot coffee. Get your $4 breakfast meal deal.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery. I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatic Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Just want to give a quick heads up. Jake and I were just talking about the Bucks a little bit before the show. Just keep an eye out. May 13th is going to be our first Bucks off-season show. That day, we're going to talk about the hire of Taylor Jenkins and possible usage changes to some of the players that we think are going to be on the team, whether the Bucks trade Giannis or not. So we're going to go through some of those usage changes. Now that the Bucks have a coaching change, there's going to be a philosophy change. There's going to be scheme changes. So we'll talk about some of the ways that they can use some of the different players, because I feel like a guy, especially like Miles Turner, is going to be the poster child of this, of a guy who some fans soured on because he was used incorrectly, which is part of how I feel like he can be a much bigger asset to the Bucks going into 2026, 2027. So May 13th, 2 weeks from today, that's going to be that show. So tune in for that. Today, we have 6 Milwaukee Brewer games today, and we have it the way that Jake and I like it. So we have bad news first, good news second. So unfortunately, we have to start with a 4-game losing streak from last Thursday. So we go back in the time machine to last Thursday. Brewers in Detroit finishing up their road trip against the Tigers. Then we have the 3-game series against the Pirates and the first game against the Diamondbacks from last night. So, Jake, another Wednesday. Here we are, and we're talking about the Brewers and a 5-2 loss to the Tigers from last Thursday.
Yes, like you said, we do have the bad news first, but I'd like to limit the bad news. Maybe not make it 4, maybe make it 3. You know, we can do a half and half kind of deal next time, Milwaukee. I mean, that would be cool with me.
I mean, they did go 3-3 on their road trip, for being fair.
They did, but we have 4 L's to talk about, unfortunately. Right. DL Hall was the starter in this one. I told you guys last week that it matched them for the most starting pitchers in MLB, tying them with the Astros, which just going to throw this out there because I've been thinking about it. We had a streak that was recently broken of games without homers. There is a guy that plays for that Houston team, and that Houston team is not good, and the Houston team does not have a good farm system. The Brewers have a need for home runs, and they have the number 1 farm system. Just saying, could be a good deal in place. You know who I'm talking about.
I think you're talking about Yordan Alvarez.
I am.
I like where your head's at.
I was like, all right, I'm at work, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, dude, we have prospects. Prospects are just prospects until they prove that they're not prospects. They don't have those things. We need a guy that hits ball over fence. It seems like a win-win for both parties.
I could be persuaded to that.
See, it's not that bad of an idea. So the guy I really talk baseball with at work is really a Giants fan. So I just listen to him bitch about the Giants and how they suck and how
they won every other World Series for 6 years.
I know.
Shit.
He still talks about how his favorite player ever is Tim Lincecum, and I said, you know what?
Big time Timmy Jim.
I respect that. You could have easily said Barry Bonds
or Buster Posey,
but he said Tim Lincecum, and I'm like, I respect it.
Big time Timmy Jim.
But anyways, back on track here. DL Hall started this one, had 2 walks, 2 strikeouts in his 2 innings that he worked, and Chad Patrick was back on the mound after a tremendous outing the last time he was out. He struggled in the 4th and 5th innings, really, to be honest with you. Those are the 2 innings that kind of got to him. He gave up 6 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, 2 Ks in 4 innings. The 4th and 5th innings were the killers. 4 runs given up, a 2-run homer in the 4th by a really, really good young player is what I'm going to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's going to be a monster for a long time. So the Tigers were very smart to sign him before that fact. They probably got a discount on him, which is why you've seen the Brewers do it with Churio and with Cooper Pratt. They're trying to get discounts. That's what these smaller, I say smaller organizations have to do because they can't compete with the New Yorks and the LAs.
Mariners did it. The Pirates just did it.
Yep.
Tigers did it. Like, teams are doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
Not an exclusive Brewers thing.
Yeah, so I don't want Brewers fans to be complaining because it's happening all over the league.
Yep.
And if you complain about it, I'm going to use something that Tyler says all the time. You're telling on yourself saying that you don't pay attention to the rest of the league. I'm sorry. It just is what it is.
I like it.
So in the fifth, they got an RBI double and then a 2-out RBI single to give Detroit a 4-1 lead. The Brewers the offense for a little stretch here, what we're going to talk about in this losing streak, was just really just horrible. There's no way around it. They had 9 strikeouts and 10 ground balls. So 19 of your 27 outs are via the K or a ground out. So you're not even lifting the ball in the air. That's just – there's nothing else to say. It's bad, So credit to Rodriguez giving us 2 innings at the end there. He did give up a run at the end, but it is what it is. The offense was not helping the pitching. And honestly, Chad Patrick giving up 400 runs, you should be able to help your pitcher and get 400 runs.
That was the magic number for the Brewers all year. Last year was 4. So
it was. So and it's turning into a magic number at this point, this juncture of the season right now. So
I mean, there's no reason to think that shouldn't still be the magic number. I mean, how many games did they win last year? It felt like, I don't know, 80 of them, or when they had 4+ runs.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the games that you feel like you can turn over to your bullpen and be like, all right, thanks guys, we'll see you tomorrow with the W.
Yep.
And not think about the 7th through the 9th inning, which obviously you still have to, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
So you mentioned DL Hall opening, kind of a shaky start with the 2 walks. He did get a ground into double play and a strikeout, which was huge, especially versus Riley Green. And then he had a 1-2-3 second inning. So a little shaky, but he did rebound well after the 2 walks. Everything after the 2 walks was really good. Chad Patrick came in for the 3rd inning. He gave up a 1-0 walk to the number 9 hitter. That's the kind of thing you can't be doing. Those are the kind of things that are going to hurt you. He wasn't finding the zone with his fastball enough. And then, like you said, he allowed those 2 runs in the 4th and the 5th. The Brewers did do their Brewer thing. They scored a 2-out run, just completely manufactured, nobody out. Bryce Durang draws a walk, steals second, and a single manufactures a run from bases out or bases empty and 2 outs. So great job there. Unfortunately, that was their only run until the 8th inning. But the Brewers drew 5 walks and had 9 strikeouts, like you said, only 6 hits. Those are the games where I'd like to see them be more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get that the 9 strikeouts, you see that. Maybe it's fair to look at swinging strikeouts versus looking strikeouts and then say they should be more aggressive. So maybe I'll pump the brakes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All things aside, this game was not a comfortable win for the Tigers by any stretch of the imagination. The 9th inning got hairy for the Tigers. The Brewers had a man on first base with 2 outs, and the 2 outs being a Garrett Mitchell strikeout that was 6 pitches, a Sal Frelick lineout that was 9 pitches, and then that 7-pitch walk to David Hamilton, a 6-pitch walk to Luis Rengifo that got Bryce Durang to the plate with bases loaded, which in a game as hard as baseball is all you can ask for. To be in that situation, to get one of your best hitters, if not this year, I would say your best hitter, to the plate with the bases loaded in the 9th inning of a game with a chance to take a lead.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, especially against a good closer like Kenley Jansen. So, again, it's a moral victory, if you want to call it that, or a consolation prize. But, they made it hard on the Tigers, and by far comfortable win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Going into Thursday.
Yep, go ahead.
My first 2 lines of notes for this game just have written in bold. Tariq Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball. Keep in mind, I wrote this before Friday, so there's going to be another thought that comes with that. Mm-hmm. They go together.
Okay. Yep.
But William Contreras got the first hit for the Brewers in the 4th inning with 2 outs, and Gary Sanchez made it back-to-back doubles to plate a run in a 2-out bases empty situation. So Brewers doing it again. Brandon Sproat did allow a 2-run home run in the 1st inning and then locked in for a 5 1/3 inning appearance, 3 earned runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 Ks. And like you were just saying, giving up 3 earned runs, that puts you in a position to win. That's a decent start. He battled with Skubal. He kept the Brewers in the game. He got lifted for Aaron Ashby to face Riley Green. I don't think that's at all an unreasonable thing to do if you're Pat Murphy, so totally fine with that. Ashby allowed a single and a fielder's choice, and that slow-moving ground ball that did get hit for a single, for the fielder's choice. If it was hit just a little bit harder, might have been a double play and kept an earned run off of Brandon Sproat's day. So then if we're talking about Brandon Sproat having 5 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs, I think that still keeps him on the trajectory of pitching really well. Going to be kind of hard to top his appearance last week when he went, 6 1/3 with like 1 earned run.
Yeah.
So like we weren't saying that we were expecting that every single week, but I think 5 1/3 with 3 earned runs, one of them being an inherited run that was allowed to score, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, and 2 walks, I think is perfectly reasonable for a guy who's barely into his second year in the bigs. Sproat did throw 76 pitches. 47 of those 76 were fastball variations. Between 21 cutters, 16 sinkers, and 10 four-seam fastballs, I do think the cutter was his most efficient pitch, his most solid pitch. I think if he can develop either the four-seam fastball or his changeup to counter with that cutter, I believe there's a dominant Brandon Sproat in the future that's packed in there somewhere. It's up to the pitching lab or the H&H car wash, as Pat Murphy's calling it these days. Got the T-shirts and everything ready to go. The pitching lab, the H&H car wash, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it. I do think there is a dominant version of Brandon Sproat in Brandon Sproat. It's just up to them to bring it out. And I mean, we've talked about it. You've talked about it. We talked about it a lot last year with Freddie Peralta. The way that they've been able to coach changeups, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that could happen.
Yeah.
Other than that, Blake Perkins did make a nice play on a no man's land blooper to catch a blooper and throw Javi Baez out at first. Javi Baez continues to be not very good at baseball, but he's still super athletic and plays multiple positions, even though he's not really good at center field. And he did get hurt last night, so like I don't want to say anything like that. Like I hope he's okay. I hope his ankle injury isn't super bad, but he definitely helped the Brewers out a couple times in this series.
Very true.
The Brewers did threaten in the 6th inning, had 2 bunt singles, nobody out with the top of the order coming out. Bryce Durang lined out and William Contreras grounded into a double play. That's pretty much the ideal scenario if you're the Tigers. But in the top of the 7th, the Brewers broke through. Gary Sanchez had a bloop single. Luis Matos had an opposite field single, and Blake Perkins got down 0-2 and pulled a double to tie the game. That was huge for Blake Perkins. You love seeing the guys that are getting kind of really inconsistent playing time. You love seeing those guys come through for you because that's a super big thing for those guys to be able to do that. So, it ended up not working out. And, we know that Zerpa is going on the injured list as of today, but a 5-4 loss where there was some really, really good pitching by Tariq Skubal, and the Brewers were still able to give it a shot. And again, a 3-3 road trip, I'm not super mad at it. That's what you want to try to do is at least be 500 on the road, even though the Brewers were really, really good on the road last year. But when you're going on a road trip, if you're going ice for 500, anything above that is gravy. So what did you take away from Thursday?
Yeah, I wrote down that Sproat has a very live arm. Very excited to watch this guy grow throughout the season. I went back and looked at my notes. It was 6 2/3. I think that's what you said. So
from the previous outing?
Yeah.
Was it 6 2/3 even?
Yeah, 6 2/3.
Nice.
So yeah, really, really good outing last time. This is still a very solid outing. The Tigers are a good team. I want people to understand that. The Tigers are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AL. They will have something to say at the end of the day, who makes the World Series in that conference. I wrote down that the Brewers had a chance to steal this series, and they let it slip away, honestly. After scratching 4 runs against the best pitcher in the AL is what I wrote down, because it's – one's left-handed, one's right-handed. You're splitting hairs, honestly. You
are. Just wait till I say what I say. I'm going to split the hairs even further.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to be like, hey, this guy's the best, I'm going to be like, all right, this guy's the best. I agree. I'm not going to argue with you. You can come up with numbers for either. They're good, okay?
Yep.
And we got to face both of them on back-to-back days. That kind of sucks.
Not to mention they had to face Alcantara just a couple days before that.
Right. Like
facing 3 Cy Young winners in 5 days.
That sucks, dude.
That sucks.
So on top of the Brewers' offense not being very consistent, you're facing guys who are going to feast on that stuff, right? So the second time this year that he's given up over 1 run. So, I mean, that's good for the Brewers to scratch across more than 1 run against the guy. He was clearly pissed off in the dugout, which I was like, yes, that's good. My team did that to you. That's very good. I like this. Zerpa had Jeremiah Jones on a 2-strike count, and he just fouled the ball off his knee. And instead of taking him upstairs, he decides to throw on middle. And again, horrible timing by me to talk about this because, we're just learning about the forearm tightness. But on this day, I didn't know about it, so I was pretty upset. I was like, how do you leave? Of all the spots, could have threw it below the zone, could have thrown one in. I would have taken him upstairs because he's clearly thinking about his legs, so he's going to be behind it. It is what it is. Jones ends up tying the game. Uribe comes in the 9th, gets a strikeout to start the 9th. Then he fell behind 3-1 to Torkelson. Upper middle 99 mile per hour. That was the ball game, really. You covered pretty much everything else, so I didn't want to sound too redundant. But, yeah, it was just one of those days. I mean, you could take away the positive of Hamilton getting an RBI, Perkins getting a 2-out RBI or 2 RBI double, like you said. And Sprout looked really, really good. And Ashby continues to impress under pressure. So you could take those positives away with you. The Brewers are in the same situation they were last year. Just survive until you get the reinforcements. And they're coming, people. They're coming. So
we'll talk about that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Friday. Got to do it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Friday is 6-0. We don't have to mention the things because they didn't happen, but shutout loss nevertheless, 6-0. I was there. Star Wars night was the highlight of the night, the fireworks and the lasers after the game. But what did you take away from Friday night?
Yeah. Not much. The Pirates scored in 4 consecutive innings, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and then they ended up scoring in the 8th. So 4 of the 5 innings in that stretch they scored. The Brewers offense, again, had 9 strikeouts. They had 1 walk, 1 hit, and 10 ground balls. So you're talking about 19 of your outs being either the strikeout or ground ball. The other 8 are fly balls. 5 of those came against Skeens. The offense was non-existent pretty clearly by the final score. I thought Shane Trowan looked pretty solid. It was much better to see him a little bit under control. You could tell when he made his season debut versus Boston, the team that originally drafted him, by the way, for people who don't know. You could tell that he had stuff.
Yep. And
I believe they talked about it last night, or were they talking about during this game? I don't remember which one, but they were talking about how the Brewers were adamant on getting Shane Trowan into the deal when they traded with Boston. And the reason that the Brewers had to give up the draft pick that they did, which is pretty valuable, they were talking about on the telecast. They were talking about how, it's the number 67 or 71 or whatever overall pick. That's pretty valuable in baseball terms. They're like, it's because the Brewers were adamant on getting this guy. And there's a reason. I think he's going to end up being a big-time bullpen arm for us. That's kind of the role that I see for him, a multiple-inning kind of guy.
At least this year.
I mean, they have a bazillion freaking starters. I mean, we have guys down in the minors, which we're going to do next week, by the way. We're going to start our minor league stuff next week.
Thank you for saying that as well.
We're going to be giving you guys some updates. Next week is actually pitching, so that's a really good segue to talk about it. We have just a million pitchers, dude. Like, I'm consistently checking X, and every time I see something on X, it's just like, oh, he went 5 innings with 8 strikeouts. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
It's a 2.28 ERA.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. So, I mean, Woodruff, he got kind of banged around a little bit. He battled, only gave up 3 earned runs and all the hard contact he was giving up, but the offense was non-existent, and if you can't score, you can't win.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, Brandon Woodruff, he breezed through the first inning, and it was like, oh, damn, the first inning's over already. And then he started allowing a lot of hard contact, unfortunately, including a home run to Connor Griffin. But so I said it from Thursday's game that Tariq Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball. Skeens might not be second. So what I said is we have more of a 1A, 1B situation.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to talk about it and you're going to say who are the 2 best pitchers in baseball, 100 out of 100 people are going to say Tariq Skubal and Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
Maybe 99 out of 100 if you get a dumb Philly or Boston fan. But
oh, God. Hey, you're talking about the 2 teams that fired their managers, bro. That's funny.
I mean, the Mets are probably next.
Oh, the Mets are definitely next.
So, I mean, the Brewers have roughed them up a couple times, too, if we're talking about Skeens.
Yeah.
So I did put in my notes that Paul Skeens probably had this game circled on his calendar.
Yeah, he was like
he's probably like, oh, fucking sick of losing to the Brewers. Sick of giving up 4 runs in 2 1/3 innings.
That's the same amount of emotion he showed when he was pissed off, too.
Yeah. So he got us back. We've gotten him multiple times. He got us back. He's really good. Now, that said, the other big thing, and you mentioned Shane Drowan, he pitched 4 innings, and I actually that was a huge thing. Like, obviously, the Brewers lost this game, and you always call it a moral victory all you want, but the bullpen butterfly effect, which we'll have this summer, we will have bullpen butterfly effects. This is one of them in a positive way.
Yes.
Shane Drowan pitching 4 innings, even though I did think in the 8th that those errors were going to end up costing him the 9th and put that in jeopardy of him finishing that game. But he finished that game and gave the bullpen a day off, which, you take him when you can get him, because it's going to be harder to come by. Like we said, when Jake starts saying the dog days every other game when we're talking about games in the summertime, Jake's going to say dog days of summer 1,000 times this summer. So just be ready for that, because we're getting to that point. So being able to save pitchers before you get to the dog days is still a good thing, even though this game was a bummer.
Hey, as soon as you start sweating at work, I'm going to start saying dog days, bro.
Honestly, I didn't have very many different things to say about Saturday. Mizorowski came out throwing gas, and it served him well to get a bunch of strikeouts, but had a couple hit-by pitches that really put him in a bad spot. And yes, he is the ace of this staff. I think that's undoubtedly shown that Mizorowski is the ace of this staff, but he's still 17 years old. So he's not a finished, polished product yet. So the command issues, they do still rear up once in a while, and they bid him Saturday, in this situation to give those couple hit by pitches and allowed 2 of the 3 runs that scored against him. Yeah. 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 walk, 2 hit by pitches to go with 9 strikeouts and those 3 earned runs. And then you get to the 3 runs that the Brewers scored. 2 of the 3 runs came on sac flies by Sal Frelick, and the other one came on a ground out. So Jake was just talking about the power outage in the second game of the Tigers series and mentioning it, and I'm sure we'll talk about how many games it was before they get another home run. But the Brewers did also have 3 really frustrating wall balls in this game, where the announcers are like, if it's 70 degrees outside and humid, that's probably a home run. 2 super deep flyouts and a double off the top of the wall for Garrett Mitchell. 3 wall balls that could have made a difference in the game, but didn't, because it's April. So that was pretty much all I had from Saturday.
Yeah, so Mizorowski, 6 innings, like you said, the 9 Ks, got him up to 51 on the year to this point, and he was the MLB leader in strikeouts after the first month of the season was completed. So good job by him. I'm sure he'd be a little bit happier if he was getting a couple more W's notched next.
Now with McDonald's, wake up to a $4 breakfast meal deal. Wake up to a sausage McMuffin or sausage biscuit, to hash browns, and wake up to a hot coffee. Get your $4 breakfast meal deal.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery. I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
To his name, but those will come, my man. Those will come. The Brewers are not a bad team. I just want people to realize that.
Yep.
We are talking about the last of the 4 games that they lost in a row. We have 2 wins to talk about after this. So they're 2 games over 500 with the way that they've struggled on offense and late game bullpen to this point in the season. So I mean, if you're going to tell me that we were going to struggle in the bullpen and not be able to hit home run for 7 straight days, and we're going to be over 500, I'm like, all right. Let's ride, dude. Let's ride.
We can work with that.
So what I wrote down, I said that I thought the Brewers offense did a good job responding when Pitt scored. They matched the fourth inning. They gave up 2 on a couple singles in the top of the fourth, and then the Brewers got 2 in the bottom half by a ground out, like you said, and a sac fly by Sal. Frelick, sixth inning, teams both got 1 run, both off sac flies. Frelick got a sac fly number 2 in the night. I did write down that it's a good sign to see him getting better contact because he was pretty pitiful for a while there. And I feel like I could talk that way about Sal Frelick because he would say the same thing to himself. There's a reason that I like Sal Frelick so much. It's not just that he is kind of like a pit bull. It's because he's real. He expects greatness out of himself, and he goes out there and he puts in the work to get it. And I respect people like that. Top of the 10th was unfortunate. A single and a fielding error gave up 3 runs. The Brewers had a chance to respond. They had a ground out to third base, which doesn't even advance the goddamn runner, which sucks, by Contreras. They had a strikeout looking by Jake Bowers. Jake, get the bat off your shoulder, Bowers. And strikeout swinging by Tyler Black. So just a tough way to lose that one, lose the series. And then, you got Pirates fans talking about, oh, again, we're going to sweep the Brewers. Well, not so fast.
Yeah.
Not
Sunday.
So fast. So finally, let's take a deep breath. Let's relax. Okay. Everybody's good. Kyle Harrison's on the mound. It's Sunday in Milwaukee. We're feeling good. Got a power lefty with a nasty slurve up there, right?
Yeah.
I'm ready for this. So Kyle Harrison, he's good. He is. I think he was the cherry on top on why the GM for Boston got fired. I'm being so serious. How is he? Before I get into this, how is he the piece that you got from the Giants in the Devers deal, and then you trade him to the Brewers? How does that happen?
Or Caleb Durbin.
How does that happen?
I read a thing on X yesterday, and the person said if the Brewers are calling you asking about a pitcher, you should probably be asking yourself why.
That is a great way to put that. That is such a good way. Like, what are you seeing him? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Why don't you trade him to me, and then you'll find out in a year when he turned him into another really good pitcher for us.
Dude, what?
Quinn Priester, last season.
Red Sox. Dude. Okay, Boston has to, file a claim against us if they can't.
They probably hate us. They're probably like, dude, why can't we get out of them what they're getting out of them?
Because you don't have our coaches.
Right.
Coaching matters.
It does.
So that is such a good tweet, dude. So let's talk Kyle Harrison. 12 strikeouts ties is a career high for him. 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk. I mean, just dominated. First shutout of the year, by the way, for the Brewers. So, oh my God, thank you. We needed that. That was
years.
That was vibes. Like I said earlier, this was the 7th straight game without a homer, even though they won. That is the longest streak they have gone on since 1999. In 1999, they went 13 straight games without a home run. So if you thought 7 straight days was, add another week to it.
Yikes.
Woof.
Well, thank you.
So Harrison, I saw a tweet. Harrison, most strikeouts by a lefty pitcher in the last 5 in their first 5 starts with the Brewers. CC Sabathia had 34. Kyle Harrison had 30.
Damn.
Love that. In 5 games this season, Kyle Harrison, 23 2/3 innings pitched, 2.28 ERA, a 1.06 WHIP, an 8.3 walk percentage, and a 31.3 K percentage. Nasty stuff. The Brewers were held hitless in this game until Contreras capped a 10-pitch battle with a leadoff single in the 4th. Contreras got the 3rd on a Bowers ground rule double. He came home when El Gary grounded out to second base. Mitchell then struck out, so there's 2 outs and a runner on second. Frelick, this is where his size is to his advantage because this guy always gets catcher's interference, dude, just because of his bat path.
Yeah.
He extends the inning with a catcher's interference. Brewers then get 3 straight 2-out RBIs. Rengifo with a single to center, Hamilton with a double to right, Lockridge with a single to left. We knocked their starter out of the game. Brewers are in mad control right now. So that got the game to 5-0, which is what was the ending score. But I wanted to talk about the 5th and 6th inning for Kyle Harrison. He had 5 Ks of his 6 outs. The other one was a ground out. 4 of those were with the slurve.
Oh.
That thing is nasty. Things did get hairy in the 8th inning with 2 walks and an error by Hamilton. They had 2 on and no out. I just want to talk about this before I talk about the final out. They had 2 on and no out because of the error that got the other guy on. A nasty curveball by Aaron Ashby to get the first out. That curveball was filth, dude.
Yep.
The guy was just swinging because he had to, because there was 2 strikes.
It was like a grenade the way that he throws his curveball sometimes, where it's just like.
It was, and honestly, you could have played the sound after the guy swung because that was disgusting. Did get a strikeout after that as well, and then he got Brian Reynolds, or he had a walk, and then he got Brian Reynolds to ground out to Terang, which is like, if you're a Brewers fan and you're trying to get an easy out, Bryce Terang's probably the guy you want him to hit it to because he's going to handle it very calm, cool, and collected. And we got out of that threat. Abner Uribe comes in the 9th. He had 2 strikeouts and a ground out. So just a fantastic game overall for the Brewers. They did the Brewer thing with the offense. Kyle Harrison looked dominant. The bullpen looked clean. Ashby had a couple walks, like I said, and the one error. The error was, I can't even get mad at Hamilton. That was kind of like it was a weird play, and like that stuff kind of happens, and like he's been playing kind of all over the place anyway, so like not really much, camaraderie with Terang, I guess I'll say, so that play was kind of so I'm not really too mad about it because the Brewers ended up winning, but man, did we need that.
Yeah, so the Brewers were kept quiet through the first 3 innings, like you said. In the 4th inning, they went bloop single, ground rule double, RBI ground out, catcher's interference, single, double, single to score 5 runs with 2 out hits. Big 2 out hits by the bottom of the order. These guys are not playing every single day. These guys are platooning. Luis Angifo, David Hamilton, Brandon Lockridge, the 7, 8, 9 hitters, those guys all produced big 2 out hits in the same inning. That's clutch. That's good. Kyle Harrison, like you said, he was fantastic. 6 innings pitched through 101 pitches. I thought after 5 innings and 86 pitches that he might be done to kind of play it safe with him because they gave him 10 days off before his previous start. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, he's at 86 pitches. He's pitched 5 innings. That'll probably be it for Harrison. He comes out for the 6th and struck out the side. Finished 6 innings pitched, only 1 hit, 1 walk, and 12 strikeouts. But it's the team high so far this year, and it's his career high. His fastball was good. His command was good on it. The slurve, he kept it down, which is important. And 71 out of his 101 pitches were strikes. If 70% of your pitches are strikes, that's a great place to be. So very happy with Kyle Harrison. I also wrote that I love and how compact and repeatable his delivery is. Vinny Artino was talking about it a little bit last night about how when he's like reaching back to start throwing the ball, that he's keeping it like more level with his body instead of kind of behind him. So he's not like reaching back for, trying to get an extra mile an hour. He's keeping his body level so that he can stay fluid while he's turning his hips and then have that velocity and control. That's coaching right there. So that stuff is important, that repeatable delivery. And then they overlaid it at one point, his fastball and slurve at the same time. They overlaid them. And with his delivery being like exactly the same, I do think that gives him an element of deceptiveness where you can't tell which pitch he's going to throw based on his windup. So I think that's a good thing for Kyle Harrison. Trevor McGill did have a little bit of traffic, but he had a clean 7th inning for his 5th straight scoreless appearance. His ERA in those 5 scoreless appearances went down from 14.40, cut completely in half to 7.20.
Damn, nice.
So his ERA was bloated. He cut it completely in half. Aaron Ashby, like you said, he dealt with a little bit of traffic, but did have a clean 8th inning. And Abner Uribe had a 1-2-3 9th inning. And all 3 of those relievers struck out 2 batters to bring the team total to 18 strikeouts. Like, yeah, the Pirates won the first 2 games of the series, but I guarantee they did not feel good about losing the rubber match and striking out 18 times.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
2/3 of your outs, strikeouts.
That's quite a bit, like I said.
Yeah. That's all I had from Sunday. So Brewers were off Monday, and then we get to last night's game. What did you take away from last night? Because there was a lot going on.
All right, so I'm just gonna start with a little story. First of all, I went with my family to finally see the new Mario movie. If I had to grade the movie, if I could pause with the baseball stuff for a second, talk about movies for a sec, I thought the movie was really good. I thought it was well done. I'm not going to ruin anything for anybody who was a big fan of it. I thought it was going to be all like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh with lights and stuff like that, which there was some lights. You expect that now with, all the stuff. But I thought it was really well done. There was a little love story in there, so some action. I mean, I was like, yeah, dude, this is a total dude movie. So, like, I'm in. I would give it a 9 out of 10, personally. Especially, you have to grade it a little bit skewed because usually when the first movie's so good, and I thought the first one was, like, fantastic, the second one usually kind of Second ones aren't great all the time. So, nicely done. So I didn't get to watch the beginning of this game. I started watching in the 6th inning, and apparently the Brewers were just like, oh, Jake's watching, so we could start scoring runs. So, I mean, there was actually a point in this game, because like I said, I just got home, and I was texting with you, and I was like, dude, the Brewers were up the bat so long in that inning. I took my dog out when I got home, ran down to my TV, turned it on, started watching the game. I left to go get my dog, take a deuce myself, came back, and we were still in the 6th inning. That is insane. But first thing I wrote down is early and consistent offense. Can we please make this a thing?
Yeah.
They scored in the 2nd inning. They scored in the 4th inning. They scored in the 5th inning. They obviously put up 8 in the 6th inning, which was just a laughable inning for everybody not a Brewers fan. I mean, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, you have to be like, Jesus Christ, my God. I mean, it was ridiculous. Brewers had 4 guys with at least 2 RBIs. Really nice to see Tyler Black back up on the team.
Hell yeah.
He is a guy because he plays for contact. His style of play is definitely needed for the Brewers at this point. And I just want to go on the record and say, today is the 29th for all my people who watch that TV show. They needed his contact, and he could be the reason that this season flips in a positive way. With the way that the offense was looking, Tyler Black's contact got the Brewers going in this game. I mean, obviously Sal Frelick hit a home run, so we ended the home run drought, so that was really nice. But I got to tell you something that was the weirdest part of this game for me. Woodford got a save.
Yeah. Yep.
In a 13-2 ball game,
Sure
Woodford got credited for a save, bro.
Yeah.
That is
I've literally listened to books talk about how ridiculous the save statistic is and that it's not a mark of a good pitcher.
That's insane. Because he came into the game when it was like 5-2, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And because Drowan, gotta talk about him. Fantastic inning. Super
Shut it
clean.
down.
He said, good morning, good evening, good night. Not in the strikeout way, but get the hell out of here because my guy's got to come up to bat. Just a beautiful inning for him leading into the 6th inning, which got really, really funky. I didn't want to write down all the stuff that happened because it was just.
I got stuff written down. I promise.
I was going to write down everything that happened in the 6th inning, but I was like, dude, I would literally need like 2.5 goddamn pages to write everything that happened in the 6th inning. So, the Brewers ended up getting a big time win. They needed to beat the shit out of somebody. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. I'm like, dude, they need to beat the shit out of somebody. Now, I understand they beat the crap out of the Tigers in the first game, and then they went inconsistent with the offense. That's why I said early and consistent offense. That's the key. We need to keep that up. Also, Chad Patrick, much better on the mound last night. Other than the walks, he had a little bit of control issue, but only 2 earned runs and 1 hit. So the only way you were getting on is by getting walked.
Yeah. So the other thing with Chad Patrick, he had the scare going into the 2nd inning where he was saying he was having some vision issues. He said he had 15 to 20 seconds where he couldn't see it all. And he was having some tunnel vision. So that was scary, I would say. He said he's always got some stomach issues, so he always gets kind of nervous when he's pitching on his day. But losing your vision, I can't imagine how like legitimately scary that would be. Like outside of baseball, I mean, just life, like losing your vision, even for 15, 20 seconds, like that would freak you out. He did say he got checked out after the game and that he's okay. He feels fine after, so that was good. I listened to his post-game interview, so he said he's fine. So that's good. With that, he had those vision issues, and then he just mowed 9 straight batters, just retired 9 straight after having vision issues until he gave up the 3 straight walks in the top of the 5th inning, allowed 2 runs that the Brewers got back immediately in the bottom of the 5th. So his game was all 5s. He gave up the 5th inning, 5 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts, 5 hits, 5 walks. 3 of them came in the 5th and did only allow 1 hit, so that's good. Naturally, we talk about the home run drought. That was 8 games. The Brewers were 3-5 in those 8 games without the home run. If you were going to pick anybody to break the home run streak, it was obviously going to be Sal Frelick. There's nobody else you would pick on the team to break a home run drought besides Sal Frelick. Pat Murphy said he told him to go up and hit a home run. He said, I ordered that, so Sal Frelick just went up and hit a home run. So if Pat Murphy wants to do that like another 37 or 38 times this year and we can have Sal be a 40-20 guy, that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really
completely rational thing to think there. The Brewers got a big 2-out hit from Joey Ortiz. Again, the bottom of the order. That's great to see. Tyler Black, loved seeing him getting in on driving runs twice. The bottom of the 6 exit velocities, if you looked at it, you got to be thinking like, wow, the Brewers must have grounded out a shit ton. 102.9, which is good. 42.1 on a bunt single, 38.1 on a bunt single, 106.5, 73.8, all with negative launch angles because they were all on the ground. And then a walk, and then a broken bat, 64.9 exit velocity, and a 101.7 exit velocity, which is good. And then Sal having a catcher's interference. And again, that's the second time it happened this week. If you are catching while Sal Frelick is batting, you cannot reach forward trying to pull extra strikes by trying to frame early. Can't do it against Sal Frelick.
Dude, his bat path goes right through you where your glove goes.
Yeah. And like he's compact. He's got a quick swing. Like, he's not a hard swinger, but he's got a quick swing. He can swing late. Garrett Mitchell's another guy like that, but Garrett Mitchell's, 6'4"? So you can get away with that a little bit better. You can't do it against Sal Frelick.
No.
So, got that. So it was just funny seeing the way that the Brewers went. And then also an 81.7 ground rule double off the bat of David Hamilton, a little slicer into the left field seats. The Brewers, 13 runs with 16 men left on base. That is stacking traffic. That's a shit ton of traffic to have on the bases. If you have 13 guys touch home plate and you still had 16 other guys that were left out there on ducks on the pond, that's a slow pitch softball game type numbers.
Yeah, that's tough, dude. I love that.
The Brewers had 15 hits. 4 of them came on the first pitch. So I like seeing guys being aggressive. That's 26.7% of their hits came on the first pitch. So that's great. And then the Brewers, they drew 6 walks. They only struck out twice. It's amazing. That's how you stack traffic. You put the ball in play. The Brewers' batting average on balls in play yesterday had to be just like 400 something.
Dude. And
didn't look, but.
If David Hamilton bunts and it gets onto the grass, dude, he's safe at first. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's so fast, dude.
Yeah. 90 feet in 3.66 seconds is stupid.
I don't even know what that miles per hour would be, but that's crazy.
I bet it's in like the mid-20s.
I think I can ask Google. I'm gonna
I mean, I can pull up his Baseball Savant page and see if I can convert feet per second into miles per hour.
Try it. I want to see.
David Hamilton. Now, I'll say this. I'm not expecting the Brewers to only have 2 strikeouts every game, but that is awesome. His sprint speed, 29.2 feet per second. 29.2 feet per second in miles per hour. That is 19.9 miles an hour.
Damn.
So he's running basically 20 miles an hour.
He's literally like a fucking running back or wide receiver.
Exactly. Yep.
Damn.
Yeah. 20 miles an hour. So that's cool. That was the extra throw-in guy in the trade with the Red Sox. So that's fantastic. The Brewers, Angel Zerpa did get put on the 15-day injured list, and Pat Murphy did say that they're concerned about the forearm tightness, and it could be a more lengthy injured list stay. I guess at this point, if that's going to be the case, I'm just glad they didn't put him on the 60-day injured list right away. That means that there's some hope that he's back between there. Other injury news, Jackson Chourio and Andrew Vaughn were both officially sent to Nashville today to begin a rehab assignment, which is fantastic news. They both have an expected return date to Milwaukee of May 4th, which would be next Monday. So next Wednesday, we could be talking about a couple games of Jackson Chourio and Andrew Vaughn being back in the lineup, and their thump is 100% missed. The Brewers have 2 more games against Arizona tonight and tomorrow afternoon. Friday through Sunday at Washington. I would love to pay them back for sweeping the Brewers in Milwaukee. And then we will have Monday through Wednesday in St. Louis. So we will have 6 road games and 2 home games next week for a total of 8 games next week. Yeah, we got the rare Wednesday night plus the following week Wednesday afternoon games. So we're doubling up on Wednesdays next Wednesday. Yep. But other than that, we will be back again the following Wednesday, which will be May 13th. And that day we will have our first Bucks off-season program to go with all of our Brewer games for that day. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.